Bam, we live, baby.
We back in this
For the
bay.
Trash Talk Countdown Show. Woo! Yeah. Ooh. Wait, nah, I can't do that. Can't do that.
Yo, welcome to another episode of the Trash Talk Countdown Show. Hey, I'm your host, Bobby. That's your host, Shine. We in the building today. We got some good news to talk about today on the Trash Talk Countdown Show. If you're not familiar with the Trash Talk Countdown Show, Shine, tell them a little bit about what we do here.
So look, we put 5 minutes on the clock. We talk about some of your favorite subjects that's happening in mixed martial arts today. Or
And we,
boxing. Could we like boxing
yeah,
too?
yeah,
As long
or
as as
or
long
any
as
kind of
somebody
sport.
catching something. Any type of ass whooping. That is 3 minutes and 25 seconds into the stream. Deshante has officially said his first curse word. I do apologize.
It is what it is,
It is
man.
what
But
it
look,
is.
though, before we get into the first talk of it, Twitter fingers turning Twitter beef. Hey, I gotta say something about the bottom right corner right there, man. Habit, stunt is a habit. So you gotta get like us. Get online. Go to habits365.com/ trash talk BS. You know what to do. Buy you some of that apparel, 10% off. And if you want your ad in the bottom right corner, all you gotta do is hit us up at
My feet smell like butt at gmail.com.
Hey man, greatest email account ever made. So let's get into the first topic of today, man. Twitter fingers turning to Twitter beef, man. What happened today?
Uh,
Your boy. Tell him, babe. Tell him.
um, I guess they gotta feel like they need to hype up the fight.
I guess.
You know?
I guess. Hey,
I
before we get into the Twitter beef, man. Hey, do you really think this fight's gonna happen? No, for real.
No, because the UFC is gonna have to make a couple concessions. And I don't think the UFC is willing to make a couple concessions to the fact of which they are going to be held accountable in the future. So they don't want to pay one person because they know once something else get built like this, they're going to have to pay somebody else, and they feel like it's going to be a snowball effect, a sliding scale. But it is the biggest fight. This is the biggest person right now outside of your Conor McGregor. Even a Conor McGregor fight right now isn't as big as this fight. You know,
No,
this is the
no.
most important fight in the heaviest division that you have. I don't understand why what they're not getting what they're getting. Must be some miscommunications going on too, a
So
little
I mean,
bit.
I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't know if there's
A what?
miscommunication between your boy Francis and the UFC, and maybe between John Bones Jones and the UFC. But these two individuals went to Twitter to talk a little bit, man. We got it here. We ain't got it here first, but we got it here though. So Francis Ngannou tweeted out to Johnny Bones Jones, and he said, "You barely won a fight lately, but you're gonna break me out." Well, he
Ooh.
called him a decision fighter. Hmm.
And Jones says, a decision fighter. I carry the record most of my submissions in the light heavyweight division for many years, my friend. And how he talk. And you are what we call a one-trick pony, Francis Ngannou. Every champion I face punches hard. I see right through you. First off, I want to stop you right there. Don't nobody punch as hard as Francis Ngannou seem like.
No, nah,
I'm gonna
no,
go ahead and stop you right there.
nah.
Now he out there ending people.
Yes,
So
yes,
didn't he drop my man with a power jab? Nah,
yes.
nah.
Nah, nah.
You ain't got hit like you might get hit against
It's
Francis Ngannou.
does this sound like the fight we just recently saw, but a little bit more high skilled from the opponent? I feel like this is the same talk that Jorge said about Usman, which is like I've not felt his punches and he punches like a pillow. I don't feel like John Jones is going to that point or that effect, but I feel like he's downplaying the power of Ngannou and doesn't understand that this dude can put his lights out, man.
I don't know. I don't know if he's downplaying the power as much as he's saying like that's all you got. Sort of rather like if you didn't have that one punch, then you don't have anything else. To which I say like
That's
that's
all
a
you need.
that's a pretty good trick. That's a pretty good trick there, buddy. So I'm like, I don't know. So did this come out of nowhere? They just had to start a beef. Maybe Dana
I
was
don't know.
like, "Hey, this fight isn't hyped up enough," and John was like, "Okay, man, I'm gonna go do something about it," and
Well,
then just started.
then John Jones said something else, man, right after this, man.
What'd he say, Bob?
Man, John so said I would rather be a decision fighter than a last for 2 rounds fighter. So I feel like he's putting out his game plan for Ngannou. He's going to try to drag him into deep water and beat him in the later rounds. He also said, honestly, Francis, I really respect you and your story. I really don't feel the need to have to crush you in a verbal battle to do what I've done to everyone since 2011. I don't see him crushing Francis in a verbal battle because we've seen Francis more recently than we've seen John Jones. So I don't think the fans will take the side of John Jones in this Twitter beef. That's just me personally. I don't see it happening.
Yeah, it's hard to take John Jones' side in just about anything,
It is,
except
especially
for the
when you do,
fact that the man needs to
especially when you
get
do
paid.
them. Exactly, especially when you see a lot of all them drugs he be doing, running his car. I'm not gonna speak on his past, but he done some things that he ain't supposed to be doing.
Yeah,
But
it's
Sean, before
hard.
we
It's
get
hard to be on his side.
Sean, before we get to the next topic of this show right here, man, do you see this fight happening though, man? I know you said something at the beginning, man, but do you see it happening? All this talk, is there action behind this?
So the only thing that I can think of right here is either A, John is feeling like he's maybe possibly losing this fight, and so he has to win it in the eyes of the fans. Like if this is what the fans want to see, they don't necessarily want to see the Derek Lewis fight. So he's doing this to kind of build it up a little bit. Because Derek Lewis just recently came out and was like, "Nah, man, Jones is out of the picture. I got the fight. We're doing this." So maybe Jones is like, man, I don't want everybody to start looking at the Derek Lewis and Ngannou rematch like, okay, no, that fight ain't gonna happen. This is what we want to see. If they start a Twitter beef, a la Kobe Covington, other dude, a la Chael Sonnen, Anderson Silva, a la those type guys, to where it's like, nah, these people been beefing forever. We gotta see them fight. Come on, Dana, pay these guys.
I think this will turn into a Mayweather versus um Pacquiao, where it gets drawn out to a point where we actually see it later on down the line when it's not as good as it was or could have been like right now. Hopefully it doesn't happen, man, but who knows?
That's
Who
what the
knows?
that's what the UFC wants. The UFC, you would think that they would want this fight right now because this would just really elevate the sport, kind of sorta. But if you get the fight later on down the line and you don't have to pay the fighter all this money, and then you could say, "See, we told you it didn't really sell that well." Well, yeah, it have sold better 3 years ago. I don't know. I don't know.
Hey man, I'm trying to get these Twitter fingers to turn the Twitter beef to turn to an actual fight, man. But who knows what's gonna happen. But let's get
We
into
do got an actual fight.
what's gonna happen in 2 weeks, man. We got UFC 262, man. Hey,
262.
the biggest question right now I gotta point out to you, man. Are you more excited for the main event or the co-main event in this fight? Because I got an answer for you.
Now, are you talking about just the fight in general or the implications of the fight? Because if you say just the fight in general, I feel like the Edwards Diaz fight, we're all fully invested in the Nate Diaz. We're
Yes.
all fully
Or
invested into
yes.
the Diaz brothers. Whatever
Yes.
they've done a great job, and I certainly appreciate them for that.
They
Now,
some badass dudes.
with that being said, when I say I'm interested in this fight, do I understand or know how this fight is gonna go? I have a pretty good idea what Edwards is gonna do to Nate Diaz, so not really that excited. Now, the implications of the title fight: if Michael Chandler wins, just smoke in the ceiling for 155. That alone makes that fight very interesting. Am I interested in the fight in itself? No, I can take it or leave it. I can take it or leave it. I get it that the belt is on the line and we're gonna get 5 rounds. Hell, we get 5 rounds with the co-main event. for
True.
some reason. For some
That's the
reason.
dumbest rule. That's the dumbest rule I heard in my life. But we're gonna talk about it a little bit later.
But but when they added this fight, I have it pulled up here too. When they added this fight of Edwards versus Diaz, all of a sudden this card is no longer bad.
No,
It's
no,
it's
no.
suddenly not that bad. Like
It's not.
I wouldn't even mind if it was an awesome Edwards Diaz fight, and then we go into the main event and we just see like either a wash or it wasn't that great of a fight. I'd still enjoy the card because
Exactly.
they put enough on it. You know, it would I wouldn't want to watch this card without the Diaz Edwards fight because it would be so dependent on the 155 fight. And I'm like, I feel like Chandler's gonna deliver, but if he doesn't, the whole card's a wash. You know,
Exactly.
Tony Ferguson versus Benil Dariush. Tony Ferguson, man, he
He,
he he slowly climbed the top of that mountain, but he's skiing all the way back down. It's happening so fast. And then you got Caitlin Chukagian versus Vivian Arajo. I do not know how to spell Arujo. How do you say her last name?
I don't know.
Anyway,
Don't ask me.
anyway, that's not a bad fight. It's on the main card. And it gives me something to look forward to whenever I'm thinking about it was a Diaz coming out. I'm gonna enjoy this fight too. You know, there's no pressure on these other fights. Shane Burgos and Edson Barbosa. I know that's gonna be good. That's gonna be some smoke in the ceiling. But there's no pressure because they made a good card. Thank you,
They did.
UFC.
They did. They did. They did. At first, looking at this card, man, I did not see this card bringing any money in because the only fight that you had on was Chandler versus Oliveira. And you are right. There is a compelling story if Chandler does win, especially in the division that he's in currently. And but the icing on the cake was the Edwards versus Diaz, and it made it more legitimate because they keep saying that
Right.
Leon Edwards is the be the guy that everyone's dodging. Nate Diaz ain't scared of nobody. So it's Leon Edwards versus Nate Diaz. I feel like the 5 round fight is stupid, especially with the fact that Nate Diaz is his face is with the scar tissue opens up very easily. Give him a 5 round fight. I don't feel like he can last that long. Not because of he can't last that long. I feel like he gets tapped in the face a couple times. His scar tissue starts to cut up and he starts to bleed like crazy. So I feel like, or I wanted this to be a 3 round fight. So Diaz comes out a little bit more aggressive in the first couple rounds. And then from there, we get to see one of these lights out fights that maybe Diaz comes out on top, but I feel like Leon Edwards is going to come out on top of this fight.
Here's the
I don't see it. I don't see it happening for Nate, but hopefully he wins, but we'll see.
here's the thing about that. So a lot of people, the one thing that everybody continues to say, like, and what we don't necessarily get anymore is like this isn't the olden days. You know, the Diaz name was turned into a verb, right? You could like if you out wrestle somebody so well, they'd say you what? Khabib his ass, right?
Yeah, yeah.
If you outstrike somebody or you're able to outlast somebody to the certain point and you just keep picking, you Diaz them. You know, do that Diaz type fighting, right? I don't think that that is the thing anymore. So if this was 5 years ago against Edwards and he was a 5 years ago kind of fighter and Nate Diaz was Nate Diaz, I would say like, okay, he's gonna go out there, he's gonna pepper, and in 5 rounds, he's not gonna slow down. And he might pull out a win against a fighter who might be better than him because he's better prepared with his VO2 max, if you want to call it that, right?
Yeah.
That's not the case these days, man. Everybody in shape.
True.
Edwards ain't gonna show up to this fight not able to do 5 rounds at the same pace that he want to do the pace at. So you got to tell him. You got to. We'll do picks next week. How about that?
Yeah, so stay tuned next week for some picks from this card alone. It's more interesting than it was a month ago. Adding that Edwards Diaz fight made it more legitimate. But before we get into the next part of this show right here, man, we got to comment on what's in the bottom right corner. Habits 365. days a year. That's what we try to do. We try to create good habits every day. Sometimes, we trash it a little bit here and there. It's not a good habit, but it is what it is. But look, though, if you want to get some of that apparel, man, all you got to do is go to habits365.com/trash talk BS. Get your 10% discount. And if you want your ad right at the bottom right corner, all you got to do is hit us up at
My feet smell like butt at gmail.com.
Hey man, greatest email account ever made, man. Look, next topic on the show today, man. Jake Paul versus Dana. Jake Paul is calling Dana White out, man, on Twitter. He basically said to Dana that he don't be paying his people and that he needs to pay the individuals that fight for him what they are worth. He made, I think he made what, 100 million? No, it wasn't 100 million. Was it 10 million or something off this last fight?
I find it hard to believe that, but you can tell me what you want to tell me. A lot of people can
He
pad
said
numbers, all this,
so.
that, and the other.
So here's the thing, though. He said that his fight was on the top 10 of most viewed boxing fights ever, and is ranked right underneath or tied with the Tyson fight back in like 90 or 80s or something like that.
Ranked on
Or
what?
one of for most viewed or most bought pay-per-views, I think. Either most bought pay-per-views or most viewed fight cards. I'm telling you.
Okay.
The dude has a following.
Neither here nor there. All of that stuff could be padded, this, that, and the other. But
Why you
all I
don't
can
give this
say,
dude his? Why you
I'm
don't
not.
give
I'm
this
not
guy his due?
because I don't have to. I don't have to give this guy his credit. I have to put it just like this. I have to say, like somebody behind him is telling him these things to do. Right? They're telling. So look, everybody in the UFC right now does not like this guy. Right? And then
True.
all of a sudden, so what is he supposed to be like? Deadpool now? He's the
Yes.
anti-hero. So by attacking the UFC, not paying him because he pay him a lot, but the UFC is a bunch of bums, we're supposed to be on his side.
I don't know,
Like
man.
what
I'm just saying.
what exactly are we trying to do here? Like nah. Do your thing. Call him out. Make him answer for it. He said what? Dana, you claiming you bet $1 million on me losing? Set up Askren to train with Freddie Roach. Gave him full access to the UFC Performance Institute. And he still got his ass handed to him.
Beat the shit out of that dude, man.
Seems like you are a real douche. I'm going to say douche because I don't like douche. Not Ariel. In my third fight, I made more in total pay than any fight in UFC history. Did he?
I think he did. I don't know, man. He got
Did
two.
he?
He got 2.1 million or 2 million followers on YouTube, man. All he needs is for at least a third of those individuals to tune in to a $50 fight, and he probably make more than any individual in the UFC because in boxing, those individuals get paid off of who views the actual fight itself. And then with Triller, they just throwing money just because to throw money. That's what they do. They had a full out stupid ass concert that was dumb as hell with the boxing. So they had money that just was thrown away. So they probably did pay this dude that much money. But look though, Jake Paul called out Usman and
Mm-hmm.
said to Usman, you can make the most money that you've ever made in your life. Do you see that fight happening? If not, what fight do you see happening for Jake Paul? Because I would love to see Jake Paul get knocked out with a straight jab.
So here's the thing. I don't believe that there are going to be any sitting champions or any current fighters on the UFC roster that is going to be allowed to fight Jake Paul because of two things. First off, it sets this precedence outside of Conor McGregor. Conor McGregor can do what he wants. He makes his own rules. That's fine. Past that, it sets this precedence that you can now compete outside of the UFC to do things. And that's not something that they're going to want to do just because this dude was talking so much crap. Now, with that being said, you would have to either find like an older guy, maybe a guy who just got out of the UFC that might still got it, or someone like that. Or he's going to go the celebrity route on his next fight, which would be the best idea for him, is to find another celebrity guy to fight and beat him up. Like he couldn't make his weight. You know what would be a great fight for Jake Paul?
What?
Paulie Malignaggi is what would be a good fight for Jake
I
Paul.
don't know.
But I don't think they're even close to the same weight. But that's a guy who has been in the limelight, somebody that he could possibly beat, but somebody not a UFC fighter. You see what I mean?
I see what you mean. I
Dana
see what you mean.
Dana ain't gonna take Chuck Liddell to Japan like that no more. It's just not what he does. Now it was the biggest fight that you could put, and they knew they was gonna sell everything out, and he could make his money back. That's why he let Conor do it. Just that's what he did. But anybody else like Usman, no, he ain't gonna let that man do that. No. And then what if Usman go out there and get slept?
He still made $50 million.
It ain't about the $50 million,
It's
man.
a $50 million sleep. You know what I'm saying? I sleep well with $50 million.
No. I'm not saying Usman. Usman to sleep well. I'm saying the UFC. It's a nightmare. You go out there and let Jake Paul sleep one of your champions, bro. The UFC is a bunch of bums. That's all you're gonna hear for like the next 10 years.
But wouldn't that be intriguing though?
It doesn't have to be intriguing. There's no upside. And look, we could get into that upside. We can
fight
get
in the UFC doesn't mean it's not intriguing to the average person watching.
That
this
doesn't matter. We can get to that in our next subject. We own the UFC.
Before we get into the next subject of we own the UFC, you always need to have good habits 365 days a year. But if you want some apparel to show it, hit the link, which is habits365.com/Trash Talk BS. 10% discount on all the apparel if you hit that link. But if you want your logo or your brand in that bottom right corner, you can always hit us up at
myfeetsmelllikebutt@gmail.com.
Hey man, greatest email account ever made. Let's get into that. We own the UFC now, man. What happened in the UFC for us to say we own the UFC, dog?
No, first off, I'm just saying, as an owner of the UFC, I'm gonna put it up. I'm gonna update my Facebook profile. Let them know I own the UFC. Let them know the UFC Endeavor went public, so the UFC is now a publicly traded company. Let's see. They were last time I looked. What was it, about $28 a share? Is what you could get the UFC for. Let's see. Doing this live is hard. Oh, no, never mind. Somebody took the UFC stock ticker, and they're 93 cents a share. Not those guys. It's Endeavor is what you should look for. But I'm just saying, as an owner of the UFC, here's some things I want to see change. How about you, Mr. Owner, man? How you feeling?
Man, the first thing I need to be changed. There's only two big things I want changed in the UFC. The one small thing that needs to be changed in UFC is the 5-round fight for co-main events. That is not a championship fight. I feel like all championship fights should be 5 rounds, but
You mean main
if
events?
it is, oh, I'm sorry, main event.
Main
It's the
events,
same
main
thing. Championship fights
only.
even only. If it's a main event and it's not 2 champions, I feel like it should be a 3-round fight. I don't care. If you put a card together and there's not a championship fight on it, there's only 3 rounds. Personally,
I even go even further.
Go ahead.
Hell, make the championship fight 3 rounds.
But why is it 5 rounds in the first place? You giving the champion a little bit more time to get his belt back if he starts losing the first couple rounds?
Couldn't tell you. Look, because it was the boxing model that they had, where as you come up in the ranks, you're going to do 4 rounds, you'll do 6 rounds, you'll do 8 rounds, you'll do 10 rounds. If it's a championship fight, you'll do 12 rounds. And so then whenever we started up the UFC, us owners, because we own this.
We own this now.
It was 3 rounds. Okay, well, what if it's a championship fight? We'll make it 5. Bro, that's 25 minutes. That's a lot. But then again, like, if it's a 3-round main event and you pack 5 rounds worth of action in the 3 rounds, what's the difference?
There is no difference.
What's the difference?
I feel like there is no difference. I feel like in a 5-round fight, the first round doesn't count.
Yeah.
In most fights. It's more of a fill-out process, and the fill-out process lasts a little bit longer because either one of the opponents wants to have their gas tank last a little longer, Or you see the total opposite. You see an individual come out strong, and then all of a sudden he gasses or she gasses at the end of the fourth, going into the fifth round, and they're just trying to hold on for the last round. And I want to see a legitimate fight between two individuals, best man win or best woman win in 3 rounds. I feel like I can get the best performance, or I can see the best performance in a 3 round championship fight. That's just me personally.
I don't. I'm just saying. Look, you either tell me to run a mile or you tell me to run 100 yards. At the end, I'm gonna be the same amount of tired if I put the same amount of effort to finish the
Exactly.
best way that I possibly can. And
Exactly.
look,
The
and
other
go ahead, Mr. Owner
The
man. What you
other
got?
thing, the other thing, as an owner of the UFC, that I would love to change, I feel like they need to get more clarification in the judging. I feel like whenever the judges give their 10-9s or 10-8s or 10-10 rounds, there should come with some clarification, maybe a checkbox or something of why. I need to know why, because whenever we have these close fights that we see differently from the judges, I need to know why they scored that fight the way they scored. And they should just put one sentence beside their score and say this guy did ground and pound a little bit longer than the other guy. Something to signify why that they scored the round the way they scored. I don't know. That's just me personally, because sometimes you look at this fight, you see it, it's one sided or one way in your eyes, and you doing about the eye test. Then all of a sudden the judges are like 50-45. You're like, he didn't win a round? What the you know what I'm saying? So I mean, how do you feel about that?
Now, I don't necessarily think that there's anything that we can personally do about that because the judges are hired by the commission. And so, therefore, holding them accountable would be a lot harder, especially from state to state. Now, with that being said, even if it wasn't holding the judge accountable, it's like, why did you give that scorecard? Because, it's tough to put people on the spot. Everybody these days, real sensitive. They're
Oh
either
yeah.
they're either sensitive or they see sensitive people and then they act all sensitive about that. But everyone's sensitive from what I see. From there, you say immediate feedback. They're doing it
Yeah.
in Invicta, and it's working. Seems like open scoring to where they show us what the score is after the round, and the crowd will let you know. The crowd will let you know real quick. You say 10-9 for the other guy, and the entire crowd's like, nah, homie, he won the round. They'll let you know. What that'll start doing is it'll start evening out some of
Yeah.
them scorecards because
Yeah.
you're going to have to pay attention because it isn't when the fight's over that we're going to take a look at your scorecard. So I'm okay with that. I'm okay. What else you got, Mr. Owner Man?
Man, that's all I got right now, man. What you got on your list of
Nah,
now
nah.
you're an
See,
owner?
look, see, look. Now I gotta call you out because we had some other things that you was talking about, Mister Owner Man. You said you wanted to get rid of weight cutting.
Oh man, yeah, man. Hey, I don't feel like weight cutting is if you don't get rid of it, I feel like you should do something with it. So like the 30 days out before the fight, I feel like there should be a weigh-in, and you should be within a certain amount of weight 30 days into the fight to make it more evenly matched whenever the fight comes about, so that the two individuals weigh closer to the weight that they're weighing in at. So that's just me personally, because now you're putting two 100% fighters in the cage. And I feel like you get a better fight, because I feel like some of these individuals deplete themselves to the point where they don't perform as well as they could, because they didn't put themselves in the best position to get there. That's just me personally.
Now look,
I've seen some weight cuts, and I've seen you cut some weight, and I don't feel like it's a necessity to get down to a certain weight just to deplete your body of all the nutrients or necessities that it needs on a daily basis. That's just me personally. That's
now
just me.
I'm gonna put this out here, and now that we own the UFC, that's going all that extra 30 days stuff. That's gonna cost us money. I looked at the price is 27. It's 27.56. I got 27 in on the game right now. I'm not trying to see that go down to 24. You know what I mean? That's them $3 could be in my pocket, lay away for that new Lambo. You know what I mean? So, with that being said, it here's the thing. Every time you try and make something happen, someone's going to do something for that. Okay, 30 days out. You got 30 days out. We're gonna come down. We're gonna weigh you. All this, that, and the other. somebody's going to be cutting weight 30 days out so that they can get within the weight threshold so that they can balloon back up so they can cut weight later. Someone's going to be doing that. Same day weigh-ins, somebody going to die. Somebody's going to try to cut 15 pounds 6 hours before a fight and go out there and get their head beat in, and somebody's going to die. So that ain't going to work either. Now, they say they had a, what was it, 1FC? Was it 1FC? That they had it to where you fight in your natural weight class, but they didn't disclose anything. So there's a lot of shady stuff going on with that. But that was the best thing. So when Mighty Mouse went to 1FC, he didn't fight at 125, fought at 135. When Ben Askren was over there, he didn't fight at 170, fought at 185. And so everybody fought a weight class up, which was like cool. Because it's like, not only am I going a weight class up, but they all going a weight class up. But then you get Sage Northcutt, who goes down there at 155. He fights at 170, and it looked like he fighting a dude that weighed 250.
Yeah.
So it's a little shady stuff going around. But I say if us as the UFC, because, you know, we keep everything on the up and up here at the UFC. You know, we're very transparent. I open the books. I'm going to call Dana right now, so I'm going to open the books. If we could keep it transparent to where everybody could basically do that, move the weight class up, it'd be pretty cool. What I would do as an owner, add more weight classes.
True.
We want to. I don't
True.
know why we got to put a damn title fight on every card anyway. Might well add more weight class because we're going to do it.
True.
I want
And then
65, 95, and 225.
and then something I didn't mention that we should add, they should decrease the amount of fights that they have on a regular basis, because I feel like it's more washed than when it was in the past. I feel like they're just putting on events just to put on events, and they don't have any thought process behind it.
Yeah.
Personally, that's just me personally, because I feel like you watch some fight cards, you just like, what's the point? Where we getting? What we're doing with this main event right here? What's going to happen next? Like,
There's no implications on any of these fights.
no, there's nothing going on. Like the Tyron Woodley main card, it was on I think it was a fight night or whatever. If he won, what would he get? To fight somebody else? There's no implications to it because he was on a 3-fight losing streak. There's just nothing to that. So what's the point of putting that card on? I know
Well,
you're trying to get some people in the limelight and some individuals that most eyes don't see on a regular basis, and you're trying to get some of these newbies in there so they can get seen by the masses. But if you're putting on a fight after fight after fight, what's going to happen is the masses ain't going to tune in unless you're a diehard MMA watcher.
Now,
So
just for a rebuttal of that, as owner of the UFC, I just want to put this out here. We're contractually obligated to put on a whole bunch of shows a year. We signed it. I don't. If they'd asked me before they went public, then I was like, that's a stupid thing to do. But
yeah,
they're contractually obligated to have to put on enough shows. At this point, I don't think we care that about who the fighters are, the fighters that we put on the card, as long as we make a show happen. As long as we fill that time slot that they
true.
need for ESPN. So therefore, we bring in just about whatever we need to get the job done. And then every now and again, we get our splash events that, you know, have some type of implications on it. The only problem is we are now setting the precedence to say, I'm going to take a look and I'm going to tell myself, I can skip this one. And then I might skip the next one. And then I might skip the next one. Back in the day,
True that.
UFC like 100 and stuff like that, or even before then, you looked at the card and you said, I don't know what y'all doing on that day, but I'm not coming into work.
Especially if you work the night job, man.
You
But
made time.
if the UFC does what you said, boss man, and they create more divisions, they would have more title fights,
And
more
keep the
title
roster the same.
implications,
Yeah.
and then you would have the ability to put more cards together, because now you have a championship fight that you can actually put together twice a month for 12 months, which is 24 different fights. Because I feel like you can find a championship fight for 1 to 2 cards every month. Just personally, I just feel like you can find out more than what you got right now.
Yeah. As long as they don't give them stupid names. That's the only thing that got me. What was it they were trying to call 175? Was it junior welterweight? Super welterweight or something?
Yeah, they don't need to do that like boxing did.
Because you got what? Flyweight, bantamweight, lightweight, welterweight, middleweight, cruiserweight, heavyweight. But then we just got to figure out better names, super welter, super middle. I'm okay with that.
Right?
I
I don't care. I don't care what they do as long as they create something that makes it better than what it is right now. Because some of these cards, you look at it and you're like, okay, I watched 1 or 2 fights, but I can skip it.
I
I
could
can
skip
skip
it,
it.
or the main event don't usually come on till about 12. So I'll tune in at 11:30.
Exactly. Exactly.
And if I see it, I see it.
Exactly.
Or if I miss it, I miss it. I can take it or leave it. I'm with you.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey man. Hey, so everybody in the building right now, if you got any comments on what the UFC should change, we bosses now. We the boss now. So we got some ideas
I see what I could do.
for it is. Yeah, we'll see what kind of input we can put in there though. But before we get into other news, hey man, I gotta say it one more time, man. Stunting is a habit. 365 days a year. We try to do good habits. But in the bottom right corner, we got the habits logo there. If you want to get you some habits gear, go to habits365.com/trash talk BS. Get your 10% discount on all your habits apparel. But if you want your logo down there at the bottom right corner, all you gotta do is hit us up at
My feet smell like butt at UFC at UFC.com. My feet smell like butt at gmail.com. I'm a new owner. I just been throwing it out there.
Hey man, greatest email account ever made, man. And other news, we ain't got no news. We gonna end the show right there, man. Hey Sean, you got anything else for the people, man?
Hey, listen, it's been real.
It's always real, man.
It's been good,
It's been good tonight.
but it ain't been real good.
Hey, never that.
Hey, look, we gonna come back and talk trash another time.
Hey, we'll holler.
Peace.